The Epstein files have been declassified and they look like this. I know, it's ridiculous, right? I mean, you can't see anything, and I'll talk more about this later, but for now, I want to show you some photos that were declassified. Here is Epstein with Winnie the Pooh. Oh my god, Winnie the Pooh was on the list. Unbelievable. I lost an idol. And speaking of idols, oh la la, here we have Michael Jackson with Epstein. Look, there's something very important. A lot of people are starting to use this to blame Michael Jackson once again. However, all of this is documented. Yes, this has already been talked about in the past, and I'm telling you right now that Michael is completely innocent. Even so, more photos came out showing Michael Jackson with none other than the former president of the United States, Bill Clinton. Wow, Diana Ross, amazing. And some people are blurred out. Let's see, this photo isn't new. It's a public photo. I don't know why they released it now when it's been known for years. The blurred people are Michael Jackson's children. I don't know what the point is of showing a photo that has already been public for quite a few years. We're talking about that photograph being taken in 2003. In fact, it was taken on December 19th, 2003. And Bill Clinton was with Michael Jackson because they were going to a Democratic Party charity event. The problem is that when they censor the faces, it makes it look like these people are victims. As if Michael Jackson was doing something horrible, something terrible, just for being with Bill Clinton. In reality, these were his children, and Michael Jackson was not involved. If you're wondering why Michael Jackson appeared with Epstein at the time, well, the answer is much simpler than people think. People forget that Epstein used to be a businessman with a very good reputation in the United States. People forget about that. Before he became this person we all know, so infamous, so despicable, Epstein was a businessman. Michael Jackson had a problem with Sony, so he needed an investor, and that's why he went to meet with Epstein in Palm Beach. However, Michael Jackson never went to the island. Guys, he never went there. This is 100% proven. Let's remember that there is a flight log. Michael Jackson never went. Period. He is totally innocent. But anyway, let's see. I don't know if you know that last week the Democratic Party leaked a few extra photos. Among them, this one where Donald Trump appears, along with what could be potential victims. Just look at that. These women have their faces blurred, their faces erased, and they appear in Epstein's files. Some think they're Donald Trump's victims, but they're actually not. This leaked all over the internet. Amazing! This photo spread worldwide and people exclaimed, "Oh my god, how terrible!" No, no, no! This photograph was also a public photo, which was taken many years ago. Donald Trump was with some models at Mar-a-Lago. This photo was taken at Mar-a-Lago. And these models were with the Hawaiian Tropic brand, which is a very well-known brand in the United States. Here's the original photo. These models just took a picture with Donald Trump. It's that simple and straightforward. But well, a scandal broke out because they were also blurred out. So I asked myself, why? What's the reason? And another question, and above all, the most important one, why do these files look like this? Why do these documents look like this, look this way? From my point of view, it's a mistake. Obviously, I think it's nonsense and ridiculous and a lack of transparency on the part of the United States government, including Donald Trump. Trump promised to release the Epstein list during the elections. He said he would show these files and documents if he won. He still hasn't done it. Yes, he released the files, but they were all censored. This is nonsense, but even so, I wonder why show the files like this in this way? Like this. Obviously, many people say that Donald Trump must have seen something in the list or in the files, and he said, oh, we can't show this, so we have to censor it. And yes, there are probably people who argue that maybe he saw himself on the list, but honestly, I don't think that's the case. And not because I like Trump or because I like him more or less, but because it wouldn't make sense. Trump himself said he would reveal the list, even though he had no need or reason to do so. Also, let me remind you that Joe Biden was in the White House for 4 years and had the chance to release those files, but he never did. I wonder why. Also, as if that wasn't enough, the Democrats tried to smear him with this, which is a lie, which is completely false. So, I really doubt that Trump had anything to do with this whole case. Watch out! Trump is mentioned in the files, which is important. Last year, at the beginning of 2024, it was revealed that the name of Donald Trump appeared in the files, in the documents. It came up because one of the victims was asked if they saw him there. And she said no, that she never saw him, that she never met Trump on the island, so why do this? What's the need? What is so important that Donald Trump and in general the United States government, both Democrats and Republicans, want to hide? Well, there are a lot of theories, a whole lot. One of them is that they're all dirty, they're all tainted. It could be, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised. However, the theory that makes the most sense says that the United States government used Epstein's client list to blackmail other people. People in high positions of power, and not only that, there are even those who claim that Jeffrey himself worked with the government. Yes, with the United States government, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised. I actually think all of this makes a lot of sense, that's why they want to cover it up, but anyway, the United States government says this is due to the involvement of victims' names. And yes, I also think they're covering up and hiding victims' names, photos of sensitive people. Obviously, all of that I agree, but guys, this is outrageous. Just look at how the files look. Look at this. It's an insult. I'm sorry. It's a total lack of respect. The thing is, they obviously promised transparency, but there was no transparency. Of course, they covered up a lot of names. I understand that they cover the names of several of the victims. I get that, but let's see. Is it really necessary to cover all of this up? Really? It seems pointless to me, and as someone here said, they published the files all censored. Damn, you had one job. The corruption on both sides is crazy. At this point, everyone in a position of power must be in on this. Of course, I think so too. There are probably a lot of very important people involved in this. Very, very, very important. And that's why they're covering it up. That's why maybe it's reached such a level that even Trump himself, even though he promised and insisted that he was going to reveal this, he had to back down. He must have seen something very serious. So, looking at today's results, with the famous list and the famous declassified files, I think it's highly likely that we'll never know what really happened. Never. Maybe we'll only find out when the last person involved in the case passes away. Maybe, but it could take a very long time, a really long time, and knowing that among the people involved, we also have to take the victims into account. Well, obviously, I think it's highly likely that we won't live to know what really happened, that this will be known many, many decades later. Ladies and gentlemen, please share your thoughts on this case. Simply unfortunate. This is the level of transparency in the United States. What can I say? So sad. See you next time.